All right, y'all, welcome back to another episode of Hashtag CB99 Talks. This is episode 68. Of course, I'm Combo Breaker 99. All right, y'all, back with another episode once again. Once again, I'm going to do a full episode dedicated to one specific card. As y'all know, it went down last Friday, Invicta FC 44. Very good card. I have to say that first off. Shout out to all the ladies. They put on great performances, some big statements made. And this card, it was worth every dollar. It was $20. It was definitely worth it. Better than some boxing pay-per-views that I pay $80 for. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't paid $80 in a while for a pay-per-view, but I'm just saying, like, it's better than some of the $60 one I pay for. Let me just tell you that right now. So, yeah, man, I enjoyed all 9 fights on this card. Like I always tell y'all, if y'all aren't familiar with Invicta FC, check them out. You're going to get a lot of young prospects. You get some UFC veterans, and then you got some promising fighters that need to be signed to the UFC. So, once again, this was 9 fights. The first 4 fights were on the YouTube channel, Invicta FC. So I got a chance to watch those. And I recommend, if you haven't seen the pay-per-view card, go check it out before you listen to this episode, because it has a lot of spoilers in it, of course. It is all spoilers. So definitely go check out the fight app, FITE.TV. Watch the fight, pay $20 for it, and you'll enjoy the 5 fights on the main card. Definitely, you will, if you like WMMA. But first off, I have to say, shout out to the champions. Shout out to the newly crowned bantamweight champion, Tanisha Tenant, and the strawweight champion, Emily Cody. They both won their belts in dominant fashion, spectacular fashion, if you ask me. Overall, it was just a great night of fights last Friday. So I went back and watched the card again because there were some close fights on the card. And with one fight, I kind of changed my mind on how it went. The first time around, I felt it went one way. And the next time I looked at it, I said, you know what? I don't know. So I had to kind of watch it without the adrenaline pumping. And shout out to everybody that, came in and watched the the last 2 fights with me. I did the, this is like my first Invicta FC little round by round analysis I did. I did it for the title fights. And, I did it at late night, man, because it was late, man. Because, the prelim started at like 8 o'clock, right? And, we spent like 4 hours just staring at these fights. And I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to do all the fights. So I said, let me get on and do the title fights at least. So, yeah, shout out to everybody that kind of stuck around with me and, watched my analysis on that. I'll probably do some more of those in the future, of course. So yeah, man, I want to start with the prelims card first, kind of give you my thoughts on every fight and how it went and who to look out for. So, first fight, Kayla Yantev versus Carlene Chandler. As y'all know, Carlene Chandler, she's the sister of Chelsea Chandler. And, they both fight at featherweight. And Yantev and Chandler, they both were making their debut. Like I said, this is going to be a statement maker for both fighters. I was favoring Chandler in this one, coming out of that camp with her sister. Thought she was going to be a little bit more rough and rugged in there, use that height and reach advantage. But it was Yantev who seized the moment. I think she came in just to let it all go and push through no matter what happened. She worked it in her favor. Right away, Chandler, she went to pump that jab out. She came forward and pumped the jab out. So Yantev, she switched levels, took Chandler down. Chandler, she was trying to fend her off, but Yantev, she was just doing a good job, from in the closed guard. She passed the guard, started landing some good strikes. Chandler, she got back up only to get taken back down by a relentless Yantev. And she mounted Chandler using that weight, landing some good shots. She was really putting that relentless pressure on Chandler here. Not a lot of hard shots, but it was just so much going on, fast pace and just multitasking on her, coming at all angles. I think for Chandler, when it got back to standing, she had to fight off the back foot. To me, I think tall, long fighter like her, should have been using a jab and, fighting off the back foot, Don't meet a fighter in the middle like this. Don't look for bombs. Just kind of find that pace and counterpunch, because Yantev, she's going to want to meet in the middle so she can switch levels. And that's what happened. She got a third takedown in the round, and she used that time to maul and outwork Chandler. Second round, Yantev back where she wanted to be, punching her way in. Chandler, she needed that long jab and leg kick attack, because Yantev, she was going right back to the ground to attack, and she was just staying on top of Chandler. Back on full mount. Yantev finished the fight off with some nice pressure, just exhausting Chandler, landing ground and pound until the referee saw fit to stop it. It wasn't like the hardest strikes, but they were unanswered, so he just stopped it because she went into defense mode. But shout out to Carlene Chandler. This is a learning experience. She'll be back. She was in there with just a relentless fighter that night. And yeah, definitely want to see her bounce back. I know Yantev called out Chandler, big sister Chandler. So hey, we'll see how that goes, right? So yeah, second fight on the card, Natalie Salcedo versus Katie Perez. Shout out to Katie Perez. You know, I'm a fan of her. You know, I've been watching a lot of her fights on the lower circuit. Natalie Salcedo, though, man, wow. People have been asking me about her as a fighter. Man, just let me tell you this. I just dropped a little piece of my podcast from the other week about Yasmin Harige, and I'm going to do like a spotlight on her as well. Natalie Salcedo, I might actually have to pull some clips from this fight and actually do a video talking about what she does, man, because Natalie Salcedo, she's looking like a force. I mean, she was making her debut Friday night, but she looked like she was 5-0 in there with that smooth grappling. I mean, that calmness and just overall technique. Katie, you know, she's a tough fighter, but Natalie Salcedo had her answer for everything. I mean, just active and a multitasker. I love a multitasker on the ground. Very active, you know, working the grappling, working the striking. She's a 5-time Muay Thai champion, but you wouldn't really even know she was Muay Thai champion the way she wanted to go take this fight to the ground. Well, Katie Perez initiated a lot of the takedowns and ground attack, but Natalie Salcedo wanted to keep it there. You know, she wanted to keep it there. I mean, right from the jump, Perez, she waited her way in for a takedown, but it was Salcedo who took advantage. You know, she started touching Perez, controlling it. She was controlling the ground with strikes, nice transitions on the top. Perez, she was trying to go from side control, but actually it was Salcedo went from side control to knee on belly, landing some nice strikes, just working in the guard to half guard. Salcedo just smooth, never short of punches, going from top to back, locking this triangle on Perez, and just landing, going to the head, and you know going for that head and arm triangle to end it. But she was just landing shots. When she couldn't end it, she just landed a lot of nice shots, just staying active. Second round, Perez wanted to switch levels, go for that attack again, but Salcedo showing that strength, backing Perez up to the fence, going back to the ground with Salcedo on her back, letting Perez in her guard, controlling Perez off of her back. I love how Salcedo was just, you know, taking it from her back, able to take it from her back to mounting Perez. You know, she like had that little burst where she just bucked and she just wound up on top, took her back. But Salcedo, you know, just still controlling with those elbows, just staying active, you know, just staying active. Like even if she couldn't get a submission, she was just staying active in there and just controlling, you know, just doing overall better work. Salcedo, you know, she was looking to use some stand-up here in the third round. In the last round, she was looking to use some stand-up, but Perez wanted the ground. So Salcedo says, look, I'm willing to give it. I'm willing to give it to you. So she took top position again inside control, pressing Perez, landing strikes. Salcedo putting on an exciting show. Quick transitions to the back of Perez, beating Perez, and just showing relentlessness. Like, you know, she's transitioning. And you know what's crazy? Like, the way she's making these transitions, you know, you like I said, you can't really believe that she's just, you know, she's coming from Muay Thai to BJJ. You know, there's an extensive background there because she was just high speed. You know, it was just high speed performance. I like these type of performances. You know, Salcedo, Muay Thai champion, like I said, grappling skills to match. Definitely going to be trouble in the future, man. I see big things. Salcedo, I had it 3-0 easy. I think she took all 3 rounds. Just too active and high level. I think we're going to see bigger things from her, though. But shout out to Katie Perez. You know, she is rough and rugged. Definitely want to see her back in the mix as well. All right, so third fight, atom weights. Maria Valencia versus Katie Saul. As y'all know, Valencia, she was in atom weight tournament. You know, she's a good pressure fighter. This turned out to be pressure fighter versus smooth boxer. Close fight. Couple times my decisions kind of were mixed on this one, on how it went. First time I saw where Valencia could have edged it out. Second time I thought I saw Saul win it. Katie Saul won it, you know. I think Saul, you know, she was doing nicely in the first round, just measuring and landing some good left hands, you know, using her lateral movement, keeping the pressure fighter back. Saul was just tagging Valencia with left hands early on, then dipping out at angles just to keep this fight moving. You know, jabs keeping Valencia back. Saul using knees to the body to separate. Valencia needing to attack the lead leg, you know, but she was just kind of coming for boxing. You know, so Saul, she took the first round easy with the jab in the left hand. You know, she was light on her feet, you know, but Valencia, she did come back. She did make her comeback, you know, in the second round. Valencia, she started closing in early, fighting behind a 1-2, quickly clinches up, goes in for that range and presses Saul to the cage where Valencia is trying to maul and rough Saul up a little bit, but Saul was able to break. You know, in this round, Saul was able to break and, you know, slow it down a little bit. You know, she was kind of slowing down here to kind of pick her shots, but Valencia, she was able to slow it down herself. She was slowing it down with the rough tactics, and these tactics were working a little bit, but there wasn't enough work in there to me because I think Saul, she was still making it out enough to land enough strikes to win the round to me. Saul, she was going back to striking and moving, and Valencia was just kind of playing catch up with those clinches, trying to work the body a little bit. But, I think with these clinches, she did get like two or three good clinches in there and work some knees to the body. So I could see Valencia winning that round. I could see how she edged that round. But it was the last round where Saul, she really needed to go back to her boxing, but she let Valencia clinch up and just take the fight to the ground a little bit. Saul was on top. Saul needed to land those strikes, but, she was just kind of letting her work rate go down. Like she was a little bit tired. So she goes back to standing. But Saul, she chooses to tie up instead of boxing. So I was like, what are you doing? Saul went to tie up instead of boxing here. And that's what gave Valencia the edge, I think. Saul, she woke up. She started cracking Valencia with a few more of those left hands. She stunned Valencia for a second. And then she goes back to landing that jab again. To me, I think Saul finished the round with some nice pot shots. It was tight. But to me, I think that Saul, she won that third round. I think the third round should have went to Saul. I think she landed more. And she was just effective overall. But the judges, they gave it to Valencia. I had it 2-1 for Saul, though, for sure. Not just because I favor stand-up, but I think she just landed the effective work in that do or die round, the third round. But yeah, shout out to Valencia. She's a tough fighter. Shout out to Katie Saul. She was upset, with that decision. I could understand why, because I thought she had won too. Let's see. Last fight on the prelims. Helen Peralta versus Caitlyn Sammons. Sammons, man, she was making her return against another hard puncher. Got to give Caitlyn Sammons a lot of credit, man. She was coming in here against another hard puncher after facing that hard hitter and Stephanie Geltmacher, which, that was back in November last year, but still, I got to give her credit for coming back against somebody like that. Right away, I was already thinking, this fight ain't going to go 3 rounds because Helen Peralta is a hard hitter. She's definitely one of the hardest hitters in the flyweight division in INVICTA FC. But right away, I like how Peralta was just comfortably keeping range, keeping her hands down. I know that was a little cocky move of hers, but that's how she does. Hands down, backing Sammons up, and timing well. Every time Sammons would throw that jab out, she was missing. Like Peralta was just walking her down, landing her right hand, and just slipping punches with her hands down. Kind of like the Cuban boxing style. You see guys like Laura, they're kind of coming forward. They're inching forward easily, but they can measure you just by eyeballing your range. Like they can eyeball your how far away you are, like by shoulder length or just by eye contact to your neck or to your chest. So every time she's walking her back, she's inching forward. Caitlyn Sammons throws a jab, she misses. It's like one of those jabs that just kind of brushes you, right by the chin or doesn't even touch you. She was just able to do that. Sammons, she was able to land a few shots, popped off her jab. She started closing that distance a little bit, but Peralta, she started closing in, answering back with her own shots. She pressed Sammons and let her hands go. Peralta was using that strength and knees in the inside to control Sammons on the cage. Went in the first round easy. Second round, Sammons, she was standing the ground a little bit more, landing knees to the body, but Peralta's jab was nice. It was just nice at controlling the range. Walking through a lot of Sammons shots, which can be discouraging. If a fighter's walking through your shots, it can be discouraging. So Peralta, Sammons, kind of went on the back foot here. So Peralta started landing more right hands and front kicks, just staying in Sammons' face and just taking a shot to give a shot. Just taking a shot to give 2 or 3 shots. Peralta landed a good stiff right hand that made Sammons clinch up and take it to the inside. But it was Peralta just outworking and out-strengthening her as well. Last round, Sammons, she was taking a chance because she needs that finish. She was trying to go on the attack, go for the clinch, but Peralta just so much stronger, controlling the underhooks, the knees to the body. In my opinion, I think Sammons needed to separate, maybe look for a big shot at this point because Peralta, she wasn't going to the ground. She wasn't going to the ground with her. So I think that if she probably would have just let Peralta come to her with her hands down, she probably could have, threw a Hail Mary and looked for a big opportunity like that. But yeah, overall, I think Peralta, she won this fight with her, dominant striking and, just good clinch work. So shout out to Caitlyn Sammons. She's a tough one, but, Helen Peralta, she's just very, very good at her stand-up, very seasoned with it. And I like how she can control range with her hands down like that. All right, so let's jump to this main card. All right, y'all. First fight on the main card: Lauren Muller versus Serena Dejesus. All right, so right away, all I could see with this fight, first off, was the size difference. I mean, I know Muller made 135, but to me, she still looked like a strawweight. At most she could, at most she could be a flyweight, at most. But DeJesus just looked too much of a bigger fighter than her. It wasn't about too much skill here because I think Lauren Muller, the second time I watched the fight, I could see where she won it. I think that, she definitely had some nice striking, nice stand-up moments in the second and third round, even in the first round, until she got caught and, until she got dropped. And DeJesus just really started to, put the weight on her. But there was just too much of a size difference here and strength difference. When DeJesus would land, she would move. She would move Muller, So I think that it was just a weight thing. But at the same time, I think Lauren Muller did a good job as far as using her striking, And like I said, second time I watched the fight, I think she edged it out. So real quick, let's go back and look at the fight. Round one, right away, she came out attacking with combinations and leg kicks, backing Muller up. Muller, she was having to fight off the back foot nicely. She was doing nicely. She was landing a few shots, eating a few big shots from Dejesus. Like I said, they would kind of knock her back. She wasn't landing enough. Muller wasn't landing enough to get the respect. So Muller had to stay on the back foot a lot here, to avoid getting overwhelmed. One thing I do notice, Muller, she needed to take advantage of was the fact that DeJesus kept having to brush the hair out of her face, and she did. DeJesus kept constantly brushing that hair out of her face. While you focused on that, you have to take advantage of those little things. I've seen fighters before, with fight, even in men, in boxing, guys with like wild hairstyles, they'll have to like continue to brush the hair out of their face. So while they're doing that, you can pop off a couple of jabs or hit them real hard with some good right hands down the pipe. So I think Muller, she was able to take advantage of that. And as DeJesus was brushing that hair out of her face, she was able to land some good straight right hands and create space. Good double jabs, good right hand started to pick up the steam from Muller. And, the speed was looking effective. But just as it got good, Muller landed a good right hand and pulled back. And DeJesus dropped it with a hard left hand. Dropped it with that hard left hand. DeJesus took the top position, just kind of rode the round out, put the weight on Muller, and stole that round. And I won't even say she stole the round because she was landing some good body kicks throughout the round. Good body kicks and good straight left hands of her own. But it was just that knockdown that put the I really put that explanation point on it for her and gave her that round. The second round though, Muller, she opened up with some beautiful work, just controlling the range, the pace, sticking her jab out, landing the right hand to the body and being effective. I could see the frustration in DeJesus every time that Muller would create space and be out of range. DeJesus would drop her hands like she was getting mad, like I want to fight. You can't really let that type of stuff get to you though. You just got to continue to box from the outside and do whatever it is you do to win you a good round, a convincing round. So Muller, she was controlling that range and just fighting smart. So at this time, if she just stuck to this game plan and just continue to crack right hands and jabs, I think she probably would have won the first round, the same way, but like I said, she took a little bit of a chance kind of doing that little pullback in the first round and she got caught. You got to continue to do what she was doing this round, just angles, landing the right hands, the jab, splitting the guard, just mixing it up. DeJesus was looking bigger, definitely looking bigger here, but it was Muller, just taking advantage of that slowness of DeJesus. She was bigger, but she was slower. So Muller was in there just, continuing to pot shot and take advantage of the lack of defense. The last 2 minutes, though, DeJesus, she closed in for a clinch, smother Muller, and she was smother Muller's attack, but it wasn't enough to win the round. So I had it tied after the second round. Last round, though, Muller, she started off nice with the right hand, left hook combo, touching DeJesus. But DeJesus, she was taking these shots, coming forward, landing her straight left hand in those body kicks, and she was making it even here because her shots, they would land and kind of knock Muller back. So here, I think that Muller, she started strong, but she let DeJesus start closing in and land those body kicks and force her to the cage. Whenever you go back to like the center, for a smaller fighter, that's money for you, So I think Muller, the more and more she would just keep it in the center, she could stick and move. stick and move, but she would let Dejesus crowd her. I don't know, man. Muller, she was landing beautiful shots and making Dejesus have to reset. Muller attacking the body with the right hand too. She would stick it to the right hand and move. Dejesus, landing hard singles. But I don't know, man. I seen Muller winning the second time around when I watched. I seen her winning that third round. I had it 2-1. So I think it's all in what you look at in that third round, though. Close fight. First time around, I said Dejesus won it, off of the strength and the effective shots. But then I went back and saw the pot shots and the beautiful volume that, Lauren Muller was landing. So I could have seen Lauren Muller win, and I did the second time around, So that was my pick on who won the fight the second time. Let me know, guys, who y'all thought won the fight, though. Next fight, Liz Tracy versus Jodie Escobedo. This was an interesting type of fight here. It was Jodie Escobedo, coming in as that short boxer, in and out, being very effective with her speed. Early on, it was kind of a frustrating type of style for Liz Tracy, but then Liz Tracy, she just made some nice adjustments in that second round. And that's why I like to see whenever a fighter like Liz Tracy, not her in particular, but just anybody, whenever, something's like frustrating you, you just take the time to, calculate it. And then you make those little adjustments and it can go your way. Liz Tracy coming down the strawweight here, first off in the first round, she was looking a little bit like she was having trouble here because Escobedo, she was just nicely controlling the pace, boxing in and out, setting up combinations, luring Tracy in, her left and right hand, just getting respect early on. I think it was all Escobedo. I think Escobedo in that first round was really giving Tracy trouble with the speed. Tracy, like I said, she had to adjust to the speed and figure out her own timing. So in the second round, Tracy, she made a nice adjustment. She started using leg kicks, right hands down the pipe to stun Escobedo and just keep her back. Picking those single shots and just measuring her own range. She found the timing, was able to step in and out to be first with those straight right hands, open up Escobedo's nose, and from there, Escobedo, she started to leak a little bit. And when she started leaking, she kind of started to take less chances. She started jabbing short, couldn't find the range anymore. So with that, those solid adjustments made by Tracy, I had to give her the second round. And going into the last round, Tracy was much more comfortable, just controlling the range, jabbing and sticking and moving with those straight right hands. Similar to like how Floyd Mayweather nullified Pacquiao's speed, you know what I mean? Like on a lower level, I think Escobedo's nose was bothering her, but I think she was just having trouble getting on the inside whenever Tracy was just, extending her reach. When she started to extend her reach, it was really giving her trouble. So Tracy, she pretty much figured it out from here. Escobedo, she closed the round with a quick takedown, but it wasn't enough to win the round. So Liz Tracy, she definitely won the fight. That one, it was just a nice showcase of just making adjustments in there and figuring out speed and figuring out rhythm and just finding your own timing, Next fight before the title fights. All right, and last fight before the title fights, Brogan Sanchez versus Emily King. Right off these two, when they went right at it. They went right at it, throwing strikes. Sanchez, she wanted to press forward here, though, and get the fight down to the ground. She didn't want to trade too much, so she takes the fight to the ground, gets that top position and side control. King, she was trying to lock in a choke with her leg. She was trying to lock that choke in on Sanchez, but Sanchez, she was using those strikes and that movement just to keep herself loose and keep those submission attempts at a minimum. Sanchez, she did land an illegal knee to King's head, so they had to stop the fight. She was deducted a point. They went right back into position. Ref, he put him back into position. And Sanchez, she was able to free up the choke from Emily King, putting pressure on the chin of King. And as she was doing this, she was able to get that full mount, landing some big elbows and just soften King up. And then she was able to get the back of King. As she softened her up, she locked in that RNC, rear naked choke, and King tapped. So that was a quick one. Emily King here, she was taking this fight on short notice. She was going in there with a tough, rugged fighter in Brogan Sanchez. Brogan Sanchez, she's a pretty tough flyweight. I think, man, if she could get a couple more fights in flyweight, you'll probably see her in the UFC. As y'all know, she does have a win over Miranda Maverick. She's a mauler in there. Very good on the ground, and she just showed it again. Why she's a very dangerous fighter in the flyweight division for INVICTA. So let's move on to the championship fights here. I did talk about the championship fights with y'all on another live stream, but I just had to go back and just talk about Tanisha Tenant, her performance against Versosa one more time here. Co-main event, long awaited title shot for Tanisha Tenant. First round, was a bit of a chess match. Tanisha Tenant, she was keeping things in the center, just attacking with low kicks and body kicks, measuring her range well, just keeping Versosa on the outside, keeping Versosa switching stances and off balance. Never really letting her get into a firefight, which was smart. That's not Tanisha Tenant's style. She's more of a smarter, methodical fighter. And she was just picking her shots, landing some nice shots and just turned it into a chess match. I think open scoring one judge had it for Versosa, but I didn't see that. I thought Tanisha Tenant pretty much bagged the first round, even though it was a feel-out round. Second round, though, Tanisha Tenant, she started turning more angles here. She started avoiding those rushes of Versosa, attacking the body. Versosa, she was getting a little bit restless here because she wanted to push that fight. She was landing a few good shots of her own, like her left hook, but Tenant, she was still in control, landing to the body. Beautiful body attack. As soon as she started sticking that jab out, it was setting up some beautiful right hands. The minute Tenant started using that jab, I think it started to make everything fall into place. Those leg kicks, the right hands, and so on. Last minute, the attack became so versatile. It was like double jabs, jabbing off of the kick. When she would switch to southpaw, she would start landing that right hook. Last 10 seconds, Tanisha Tenant, she unloaded, a good barrage, right hook, left hand barrage, a southpaw stance, and dropped Versosa with a hard right hook. And then she went in for the attack. But I don't know, man. The ref, he kind of jumped in there because she did land some good shots. And I thought she got stopped. I thought she was about to get stopped right there. I don't know. I don't know if the referee saved her or was it the bell. What do y'all think? I mean, Versosa, she did kind of look like she was done because when she got up and went back to her corner, I saw her kind of grabbing the fence to kind of sit down because she was off balance. And it looked like she wouldn't have been too upset, I think, if she had got stopped there because when she ate that one right hand, that right hand planted on her chin, she went down hard. And like when she got up, she looked a little dazed. So I don't know, man. But that was a stoppage chance right there. The third round, Tenant, she opened up with some beautiful jabs and feints. Versosa just clinching up to try to avoid this clinic. Tenant, breaks. She would just break nicely, go right back to the outside, just attacking and rocking Versosa with these combinations. And once again, rocks Versosa with a combination, and the ref steps in to clean up a spill at the worst moment because she got hit with a big combination and he was there to save her quickly, man. I was like, dang, that was like a second stoppage opportunity. What the hell, man? So anyways, Versosa, she started to jab her way in a little bit more and lands a few shots, but Tenant, she would stuff that attack with the front kick, attacking that body nicely, just knocking Versosa back. Versosa did land a big left hook this round that I thought kind of stunned Tenant, but she went right back to the jab, just stayed patient. Jab just opened up some beautiful opportunities, double up, front kick to the body. Again, the southpaw stance, Tenant unloaded those right hooks, almost had Versosa out, but she clinched up to save herself this time. She saved herself this time. So Tenant just used a nice tripping takedown to get that clinch off and free herself. Round 4, jab, 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 hitting Versosa right in the face, splitting the guard, kicks to the body, head kicks, big right hands. I don't know how Versosa was still standing. She was never really trying to stop these attacks, these jabs. Versosa, she was just getting outworked in the clinch as well, getting controlled. Tenant's body work was really taking its toll. I saw Versosa just starting to drop her elbows, trying to avoid those shots. And by this round, Tenant, she just bagged it for sure. Last round, more of Tenant's work, more of Tenant's just her IQ being showcased here. Straight strikes down the pipe again, front kicks to the body, just really controlling it. And every time she would just get that overhook, she knew how to break free. Every time she would get the overhook, she would break free from Versosa and go right back to slamming those kicks to the knee, then go to the body. Last 30 seconds, they let it all go. Tanisha Tenant, she blasts Versosa with a barrage. Her chin holds up, and she makes it out of the round. So pretty much unanimous decision. I had it a shutout for Tenant, 5-0. I think one judge had the first round for Versosa, but other than that, it was a shutout. So congratulations to the new bantamweight champion, Tanisha Tenant. All right, so the main event. This is how you cap off a night of great fights. This is how you do it, man. Emily Cody versus Danielle Taylor. She pretty much stole the show with this. Well, I would say it was both good fights. Both the title fights were good, but I mean, as far as making the statement, I mean, this is how you do it. If you want to win a title and you don't want it to go into the hands of the judges, like I always say, you don't get paid for overtime. Emily Cody, she went in there and she stunned the INVICTA crowd. She stunned WMMA fans. She stunned me with this first round KO over Danielle Taylor. Like I said, Danielle Taylor, early on in her career, she would stop, but not in this fashion. I mean, this was serious, man. It was one hitter quitter and Emily Cody. One hitter quitter from Emily Cody in this fight. I mean, she knocked Danielle Taylor out and had her out on her feet to get this strawweight strap from Invicta FC. I mean, like, wow, man, that was crazy. I mean, right from the jump in the first round, first off, let's say shout out to Emily Cody and Danielle Taylor. You know, these are two fighters that have been fighting for a while now, and they've been wanting to try to get gold wherever it was, UFC, Bellator, anywhere, you know. And Emily Cody, she's been in the game for a minute. You know, I had her winning that Kanako Murata fight when I went back and watched it a few times. Like I always tell y'all, I think that Emily Cody, you know, she's very, very sharp, very poised like she was Friday night. Very good timing, very sharp right hand, and you could really see she worked on the right hand for this fight. She was prepared. Right from the jump, Emily Cody, she came out poised, effective pressure, staying out of range, but right in front of Danielle Taylor, ready to time and counter, sticking to the body, landing head kicks early, you know, just timing those attacks of Danielle Taylor. Because, you know, Danielle Taylor, you know, her being shorter, she has to kind of keep it moving, and she'll kind of flurry on the inside. She'll always she'll kind of stay on the outside for a little too long for her own good. You know, Danielle Taylor, she needs to fight a little bit more on the inside and, you know, be more of a clinch fighter and use the overhand right, because she'll kind of flurry in and out. And I think somebody like Emily Cody, you know, that's going to be easy for her to figure out. You know, Emily Cody was looking for the KO in this fight with her attack, and that's what made it dangerous. Everything she was throwing was stick. Everything she was throwing was going to stick, and it was efficient. Once Danielle Taylor, you know, she would step in, she would kind of drop her hand. You know, she would drop her left hand. So once Danielle Taylor stepped in once with that lazy left hand, you know, after she tried to land it and missed and dropped, and she kind of dropped back, Cody caught her. She caught her that first time with the right hand, and that was a sign. She caught her clean with one of those right hands. I saw it. And then another head kick landed. I thought it might have been a head kick that was going to knock Danielle Taylor out or either stun her or drop her. So she got hit with a few leg kicks here. Emily Cody just put a lot of pressure on Danielle Taylor here, just waiting for that moment. And again, Emily Cody, she times that left hand to Danielle Taylor. Danielle Taylor steps in, over the top, boom. Emily Cody lands a big right hand that puts Taylor out. Sleep on her feet. Sleep on her feet. Never seen it like this before. Danielle Taylor's been stopped once early in her career, but she's never been stopped in this fashion. I'm talking she ate a one-hitter quitter from Cody, put her on sleep. Put her on sleep mode while she was just standing there, and then a head kick just kind of dropped her for good measure just to tuck her in. And even that didn't wake her up. That's how hard and effective and accurate the right hand was. Put her to sleep. As she kind of slouched over, she ate a head kick and was just tucked in from there. I mean, I was kind of worried about her because, you know, the doctors came in, you know, she was still out. You know, they were checking her out, but, you know, she was good after that. But, yeah, it was just a big moment for Emily Cody. I didn't see it coming. First round KO for Emily Cody. I mean, shout out to the new strawweight champion for Invicta FC, man. I mean, she went in there and made a big statement. Is this KO of the year for WMMA? I don't know. Very well could be, right? Because, I mean, this was a title fight. It was significant. It was shocking. It was shocking. So, yeah, man, that's pretty much my review for all 9 fights, guys. And like I said, I enjoyed it. It was worth the money. It was worth the $20. Don't be cheap next time. You know, if it moves up to 30, put $30 on it. You will enjoy it, man. You won't be disappointed. But again, shout out to the bantamweight champion, the newly crowned bantamweight champion, Tanisha Tenant, and the newly crowned strawweight champion, Emily Cody, guys. But yeah, that's all I got on this one, guys. I'll be back with another episode next week. So make sure y'all subscribe, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, and just subscribe to the YouTube channel. Shout out to my new followers as well. You know, got more to discuss. You know, we're gonna be always talking WMMA and boxing, you know, in these live streams. So, you know, hey, always tune in, guys. And thanks to my day ones and thanks to my new subscribers. Combo Breaker 99, I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.